Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Ever wondered how ancient institutions manage their money? Today we are diving deep into a fascinating and often overlooked topic. The church is an incredible journey through the world of finance. It's a story of faith, innovation, and a surprising legacy in economic development that still impacts us today. This isn't just about dusty old ledgers. It's about how an institution for centuries shaped the very foundations of our modern economy. Let's get into it. Let's start in medieval Europe. Picture a society where the church was at the center of everything. How did it fund its massive operations, from building breathtaking cathedrals to supporting entire communities? This practice, where believers contributed a portion of their income, wasn't just a religious duty. It was the bedrock of the church's financial system. This steady stream of income was crucial, allowing the church to not only sustain itself, but to become a major economic player. These funds were the lifeblood that powered everything from local parish activities to the grand ambitions of religious orders across the continent. But the church's financial role went far beyond its own walls. From the very beginning, these funds were channeled into what we might now call social enterprises. Early Christian communities pooled their resources to launch charitable missions, caring for the poor, the sick, and travelers. This created a primitive form of social safety net, an idea that was revolutionary for its time. They established hospitals, orphanages, and almshouses, all financed by the collective contributions of the faithful. This wasn't just charity, it was a structured, organized effort to address societal needs, laying the groundwork for many of the social welfare systems we see today. Now, let's fast forward to a more modern example of financial resilience. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, particularly in its early history, faced immense financial crises that threatened its very existence. How did they navigate these turbulent waters? The answer lies in strategic leadership and a willingness to adapt. Leaders made tough, decisive choices, restructuring debts and implementing long-term financial plans. This wasn't just about surviving, it was about building a sustainable foundation for future growth. Their story shows that even faith-based organizations must rely on sound financial principles to weather economic storms. One of the most practical strategies they used during these downturns was focusing on what they already had. Instead of launching expensive new construction projects during lean times, the church prioritized refurbishing and maintaining its existing buildings. This cost-effective approach not only saved precious funds, but also preserved their historical and spiritual heritage. It is a brilliant lesson in fiscal responsibility, maximizing the value of your current assets before seeking new ones. This pragmatic decision-making allowed them to remain solvent and continue their mission without interruption. Throughout these challenges, one thing became crystal clear. Effective communication is absolutely vital. When a church, or any organization for that matter, faces a financial crisis, transparency is key. Church leaders who openly communicated the situation with their congregations, explaining the challenges and the plan to overcome them, were able to foster trust and unity. This shared understanding encourages the community to pull together, whether through increased donations, volunteer work, or simply moral support. Keeping people in the dark only breeds fear and division. Open dialogue builds a resilient community. Beyond managing its own finances, the church has played a profound role in shaping the broader economic landscape by safeguarding moral law. Think about it. Commerce thrives on trust. When people believe that contracts will be honored and dealings will be fair, they are more willing to engage in trade and investment. The church, by promoting virtues like honesty, integrity, and fairness, helped build this social capital. It created a moral framework that discouraged fraud and encouraged cooperation, which are essential ingredients for a healthy and prosperous economy. This ethical foundation made complex economic interactions possible. As we move into the era of early capitalism, the church's influence on business ethics becomes even more apparent. Christian teachings on greed and exploitation directly influenced concepts like fair pricing and just profit margins. Thinkers and theologians debated what constituted a just price for goods and services, arguing that sellers shouldn't exploit a buyer's need. This moral scrutiny pushed back against a purely profit-driven mindset, injecting an ethical dimension into the nascent market economy. It was an early attempt to balance the pursuit of wealth with the well-being of the community, a debate that continues to this day. The church's impact wasn't just theoretical, it was hands-on, especially concerning two of the most persistent socioeconomic issues: land and poverty. Throughout history, various church bodies have been deeply involved in land reform and poverty alleviation. They acquired land, sometimes becoming major landowners themselves, and used it to support the poor through farming collectives or by providing plots for families. This direct intervention aimed to create sustainable livelihoods and promote a more equitable distribution of resources, driving tangible socioeconomic transformation from the ground up. This commitment to justice often put the church at odds with political authorities. Time and time again, church leaders have used their moral authority to advocate for the poor and marginalized, challenging unjust laws and corrupt rulers. From medieval bishops confronting kings to modern clergy advocating for civil rights, the church has a long history of speaking truth to power. This historical advocacy for social and economic justice has been a powerful force for change, reminding societies that economic policy must serve the common good, not just the powerful. Finally, let's look at the church's role in shaping modern socio-economic policy, especially within democratic societies. The church influences policy by consistently advocating for social justice, ethical governance, and the dignity of every person. Through formal consultations, participation in public debate, and grassroots organizing, religious communities inform and influence government decisions on issues like minimum wage, healthcare access, and environmental protection. They bring a moral perspective to the table, urging policymakers to consider the human impact of economic decisions. This moral voice continues to be a significant force in shaping a more just and equitable world. So, from ancient tithing practices to modern advocacy, the church's financial and economic story is far more complex and influential than most people realize. It's a legacy of innovation, resilience, and a persistent call for an economy that serves humanity. It reminds us that faith and finance have been intertwined for centuries, shaping the world in ways we are still uncovering. Thanks so much for joining me on this historical deep dive. What part of this story did you find most surprising? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the hidden histories that shape our world, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.